Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Letdown podcast. As you can see, we're missing one of the three musketeers, Justin Harrison. He's out cleaning his garage. I think his wife made him go do that. This podcast is going to be a little bit different than the one that we normally do. We don't have a guest for this podcast. There's going to be no feel-good stories, no joyful discussions. We have some creepy, unsettling, ominous, eerie stories about the outdoors from ourselves, as well as some shared stories from listeners and from people that I have contacted.
Pow.
This episode sort of began because I was listening to the Meat Eater podcast, and they have a sub podcast called Blood Trackers. Now, Blood Trackers, if you haven't listened to it, I'd say give it a listen if you're into missing persons or murders or mysterious disappearances, as it follows different hunters who are involved in such. And that gave me the idea to share stories that I've heard and that I've experienced sort of around Ontario or in Canada, because I know BC, there's a lot of forests in BC where people go missing, right? So we might be getting into a series that covers that, mysterious disappearances, unexplainable stories, people seeing lights, floating orbs, Bigfoot, what else? Skinwalkers. Everybody loves a good Skinwalker story. But today we're going to begin that mini-series with our own personal stories. And a couple good ones that were shared. So we'll get into that now.
There you go. So before we get started with Skinwalkers, where do those tales come from? Is that sort of
I think that's
worldwide, or
no?
is
I think
that
that's an indigenous thing, is it not?
yeah, I think it's more like southern. Like I've heard Navajo stories about Skinwalkers. I know, like around here, it's more shapeshifters, like bear walkers.
Okay.
So, yeah, people will. They say that people turn into bears and other animals as well, but bears is a more common one, right? So because they stand on their 2 feet, I think is probably where it comes from. I know when you and I were discussing this episode, we also were talking the Wendigo,
Wendigos,
which is kind of it's more of that's like a Algonquin, Ojibwe, Cree type of sort of almost fairy tales that they used to tell kids so they wouldn't go into the bush by themselves, but also there are stories around, and that's like skinwalkers. That Wendigo might be just another name for that. Those types of monsters, right? So it's interesting. Yeah, because when I heard skinwalker, I'd never really heard that before. So I was just wondering.
Mm-hmm. I think it's from the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay,
there's another one for the skinwalkers, and just like preachers that mimic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's what the tale of the skinwalker came from. Was it would mimic other people,
right?
Enticing hikers or other people just walking in the forest to go looking for this person, and then it would capture or kill or whatever said hikers.
Okay.
Obviously, it's just stories, right?
Yeah.
But stories have to come from somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Like I know when I went looking for some stories myself, the mimic came up quite often. Skinwalkers came up quite often, and just like some people call it the Slender Man or whatever. That's like that thin, which is also that Skinwalker type sort of. Obviously, Sasquatch is the other one. Although I don't know. Like I think you were saying, you had a story to talk about that kind of scared you out of the bush for a while.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll get into it. For all the listeners out there, who don't know me very well, I am very bad at telling stories.
This should be a great episode, then, folks.
This is gonna be a great episode. No, I'm very bad at telling stories off the top of my head. Because I always end up missing details, and then I go back on those details, and it's like a whole just maze of me going back and forth. So what I did was I recalled the event as best as I could, and I wrote it down, typed it out. So if it sounds like I'm reading from a script, it's because I am. But this did happen, you can believe it or not. It's probably perfectly explainable, but in the moment, it creeped me the hell out and it freaked me out quite a bit, and I haven't been back to the area since. So yeah, I'll get right into it. All right, so this is my personal eerie hunting story. And it all starts a few years ago. I went deer hunting at my dad's cabin up north, which is located in North Frontenac, just west of Belleville and WMU 60. It's not a massive property, only about 20 acres, mostly of hardwoods, but it neighbors roughly 1,000 acres of crown land. Now, we are by no means isolated from other people. We have neighbors up and down the road who own and maintain their own land that is easier to traverse than the crown land, which is riddled with deadfall, rocky terrain, and marshes. So there's not much reason for them to wander onto the crown land. I was eager to check out a new spot I had scouted on Onyx, about 1 kilometer into the bush, just off the property line of my dad's cabin. Not too far from the mass amounts of deadfall made it slow and a steady trek. I decided to wait until noon the next day so I didn't have to traverse unfamiliar terrain in the dark of night. The next day was a windy one, wind gusts of 30 kilometers an hour and light showers, but I still made my decision to go anyways. The walk took roughly 30 minutes of ducking under branches, climbing over trees and rocky terrain. I finally reached my destination and found some deer sign, a couple scrapes within a 50-yard radius, and doe bedding 100 or so yards away. I decided to set up not too far off a scrape, just up a ridge, to catch any bucks that may be traveling to the doe bedding. A few hours pass, and it is now just after 3 p.m. Now, I grew up in the woods. I was familiar with being alone in a stand or a blind. I had no reason to be scared, but for some reason I started to have this feeling like I was being watched. I had that tingling feeling in the back of my neck like someone or something was staring at me. It wasn't the squirrels running around in the fallen leaves or the blue jays flying around me. Those are eyes I don't care to have on me. No, this feeling was like one you get when you were a kid, home alone at night, staring down the stairs into the black void of your basement, repeating to yourself, nothing staring back at you. As I sit in my tree, this feeling didn't go away, but I shoved it into the back of my mind and carried on with my hunt. A hunt that would end up being unsuccessful and leave me packing my gear in disappointment. Now last light was around 6 p.m., but I didn't want to travel that type of terrain in pitch black with only my headlamp, so I elected to leave about 6:15. I packed my bag and began my descent down the tree. I removed my platform and my climbing sticks and packed them in my bag. I started walking my way back to the cabin in the twilight, guided by my headlamp and my Onyx app. I walked for about 10 minutes before I realized I left my platform strap at the base of the tree instead of packing it in with the rest of my gear. Frustrated, I turned around and made my way back to the area I was set up at. At this point, it's pitch black. Without the light from my headlamp, I would not be able to see a thing. After 10 minutes of searching the area, I finally found the strap for my platform. I packed it in my bag with a big sigh and turned around and started to walk back again. I took about 5 steps when my headlamp turned off, which I attempted to turn back on, but it was no use. The batteries had died. Frustrated, I took out my phone and used a flashlight from it to guide me back. That feeling of being watched became more prominent with every step I took. I was coming close to the cabin, maybe 300 yards or so, but again, the fallen trees made it difficult to cover the distance quickly, especially in the dead of night. I took a moment to rest. That's when I heard it. Nothing. The wind that was blowing like hell, not even 5 minutes prior, was still. The bugs were silent. Squirrels and birds had gone. It was eerie. You could have heard a pin drop. Then I felt something grab my hood, almost like a tug. I jumped and I turned around quickly and yelled, "What the fuck?" All at once I saw nothing. Then I heard a voice, almost like a whisper, "Run." Without hesitation, I sprinted for the cabin, hurtled over trees with my bow still in hand, my brain repeating what the voice said to me, "Run, run, run, keep running." I finally reached the property line, but I didn't stop sprinting until I was inside the cabin. I looked out the window to see nothing but trees. Whatever was out there, whatever made me run like that, put a damper on the rest of my hunting trip, because I just didn't want to go out in the dark of morning, and I didn't want to stay long enough to walk back in the dark. Was something watching me? A coyote that made my sixth sense come alive? Maybe it was my brain playing tricks on me. Maybe it was a tree branch that grabbed my hood. maybe it was nothing. All I know is that I never went back into that deep into the Crown Land again. I'm better now. I stay way past dark, go early mornings away in the tree, no problem. I've drawn my own conclusion that it might be nothing and it must have been a tree branch grabbing me. But this hasn't happened again since, so I don't really care. But I do keep an extra set of headlamps in my bag at all times from now on.
Don't blame you.
So that's my story.
Wow. That's pretty spooky, dude.
It is.
That's creepy.
Now, the main thing would be the feeling of somebody watching, and obviously that's probably just your brain playing tricks on you. But people say they have humans have a sixth sense of when they feel like they're being watched. Like, you ever drive past somebody who's driving like a fucking moron, and you stare at them and they stare like right back at you? Yeah, because they feel like you're watching them.
Right. That's
And then the tugging of the hood could have been a tree branch. Like, there's a lot of fallen trees knocked over and stuff, but like in the moment, fuck, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and then
what explains the voice, man? That's what
I don't know. Like, it, again, could be tree branch moving or my brain again playing tricks on me. Like, dude, I was freaking out, like scared out of my mind.
shit.
You're home alone. Sometimes you think you hear a voice, but it's not. Like, it's just your brain playing
That's
tricks or whatever. And
How old are you? How old are you?
I was 19.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're at the cottage alone, went out hunting. Headlamp goes out. You have a flashlight. Walking back, bush gets eerily quiet. Which again, like these, again, I went through what probably about 15, 20 stories, and at least 90% of them are of this type of thing that happens. Bush will just get really quiet. No bugs, nothing. You can't hear anything, and then they'll either hear a voice, a whistle, footsteps, something following them. So it's hard to explain, right? So
Well, they say it's like, once the woods gets quiet, it's time to go. It's like
sure.
you're not welcome there anymore.
For sure.
Yeah, it was a scary moment for sure.
Yeah.
Especially for like just a 19-year-old kid. But like, again, like up until that moment, never had an issue. So like it was weird. It was like, as a kid, I was always outside until dark in the woods with friends or family or by myself or whatever. And yeah, something weird.
That's freaky.
Mm-hmm.
So I do also have a story. I know you've mentioned once on one of these podcasts. I think it was the moose hunting podcast that I had, that I am First Nations. So I really wasn't really into the culture, or didn't know much about the culture. My father never really talked about it much. But so when I was in my mid 30s, I decided I want to find out what this is all about, right? So I started learning about ceremonies and what have you through some elders. I hooked up with this one elder who was willing to teach me just about everything, right? So he taught me how to do sweat lodge. He taught me how to do a bunch of things. I'll probably be kicked out of the community for talking about any of this stuff, but these I don't know. I think it's kind of silly to hide stories from people. These are, like everyone's got their cultural, nuances, etc. So the one thing you do as you're supposed to do as a young man is you go on a vision quest, they call it, right, or what have you. And it's you go into the bush by yourself. You have no food. You usually bring your bundle, which is your pipe and your drum, and you're supposed to, and a rattle, and you're supposed to sing or whatever. Eventually, spirits are supposed to come and they have a message for you or what have you, right? So I remember, so we went to this one site in Wilberforce, which is up near Peterborough, I think, Wilberforce. I think it's like the southern tip of the Algonquin Park anyways. And it's beautiful bush. Like, it's that Canadian, just at the edge of the Canadian Shield there, that kind of bush, which I love. That's what I grew up in. I grew up in Sudbury, Ontario. So for me, that's like home. And anyway, so so when you get there during the for the vision quest, you do a sweat before you go out, and they tell you how many days you're going to spend out there without food or water. So you don't eat any food, neither drink any water. And the guy told me it was going to be 2 days that I had to go out there. So I said, okay, no problem, whatever. And what they do is they bring you out. So they have two guides. They bring you out. They bring your stuff for you. They set you up. Like, I was allowed to have a sleeping bag, so I had a sleeping bag, and I think I had a pillow, and then of course my bundle and what have you. So the first night I smoked my pipe, and I remember laying down and I'm looking at the stars because it was one of those nights where you could see the Milky Way was as clear as day. I could see the moon, and I wasn't really tired. I was just kind of looking around, and you're like, you know how it is when you're in the bush. It's dark. It's so dark you can't see anything. So you think, oh man, everything. There's got to be something out there or whatever. But I remember like what comforted me. My dad used to tell me because my dad grew up. He was quite the outdoorsman. He loved being in the bush, right? So he always told me, so whatever you see in the day is probably going to be there at night. So you don't see anything during the day, you're probably not going to see anything at night. So I kind of felt a little bit of comfort at that. So there's not going to be a bear or something walking up on me. And then also maybe a kilometer and a half away, the part of the Vision Quest, they're doing a ceremony for you out at the campsite, right? They gather around a fire and they say prayers for you and what have you, or they're drumming songs or whatever. So anyways, yeah, so I'm lying there, and it's like, I'll be honest, you start to get bored of your mind, so you're just thinking of things and whatever. And I remember like kind of closing my eyes, laying back, going, oh, I just wish I could sleep. And I opened my eyes, and there was 3 orbs like in a triangle over top of me, and I was like, what the heck are these? And they kind of lit up the bush a little bit, like kind of this light is doing for me right now, just kind of lighting it up. And like one of the orbs was over the lake. I was on the shoreline of a lake, and I could see the reflection on the water. So I'm like, it's not stars, it's not a meteor, it's not moving. They're just sitting there stationary. They didn't move at all. And I remember calling out to it because I was like, what is that? Like, what are you? And they didn't move. I didn't feel scared. I felt like they were there to give me comfort, if that makes sense. But even that, like now when I think about like the hair standing up on my on my arm right now, telling the story, man. And I remember because I felt so relaxed, I fell asleep, and I woke up next morning and they weren't there. It was sunlight because I was worried that was my biggest worry is I'm not going to be able to sleep out here, man. Like I got nothing. I'm lying on the ground. I got a sleeping bag and what have you. So the next night, nothing was. I had some dreams or whatever. So when I was a young kid, I used to be able to. What do they call it? Is it vivid dreaming? Anyways, I knew when I was a kid. I knew when I was dreaming, and I could think inside of my dreams and control them. But anyways, we won't get into that. That's
You're a dream walker, bro.
yeah. So well, not anymore because I can't do it anymore. So so I'll just finish that off with I think I was 6 or 7. The last dream I had that I could control, a guy was in the dream and he told me, you got to stop doing this or you're dead. And I never did it again. I remember this like absolutely vividly from 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. I remember waking up thinking it was like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I ran downstairs to talk to my mom, but she was sleeping. Nobody was downstairs. I was terrified, man. I never wanted to sleep again. So,
What the
yeah, it was crazy, man. So I know it's not a bush story, but that was pretty scary. But yeah, those lights, it was very comforting. But then I know I mentioned this to Valerie just before I got out of the podcast. I was going to tell that story about the lights. And she says, there's a lot of common stories where people see 3 lights or orbs in the sky and they go to sleep and they think time's past 15 minutes, but they've been gone for 3 or 4 days. No, that didn't happen to me. I woke up the next morning. It was fine. And maybe the aliens weren't interested in me or something, but it wasn't cool enough. But yeah, it was quite the thing. And I remember I was talking to a guy about it. He's like, "Oh, it's all in your head." And I'm like, "This wasn't in my head, man. Like I know for a fact this wasn't in my head. Like I wasn't. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't smoking anything except I had some tobacco. And these orbs were like, I felt like I could almost reach out and grab them, but I couldn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. It's unexplainable. So
See, that's like spirits or something along those lines. Like mine's like very like mine's pretty explainable. Yours is, dude, that's nuts. Seeing lights, 3 orbs, like lights, like a headlamp is one thing. Like 3 orbs flooding.
Yeah, they're floating in the sky. Yeah,
that's crazy. For
no
sure, it
one's gonna
wasn't
believe.
3 helicopters with spotlights?
Yeah. I didn't hear any helicopters, so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
crazy.
I remember going back to the camp and telling who did I tell? It was one of the elders. I told him, I was like, oh, I saw three orbs out there, and he's like, oh, what do you think it was? And I'm like, I don't know, spirits maybe. I don't know, it's some kind of natural phenomenon. And he just wouldn't. It's sort of the First Nations ways that you learn lessons on your own.
Mm,
So he probably knew what they were. He just didn't want to
didn't
tell
wanna
me.
tell you.
Yeah, so he wants you to find out for yourself because they have that has a message for you, right? And you're supposed to figure it out. So,
Yeah. Did you figure it
and
out?
I still haven't figured it out. I got to spend more. I got to actually. I should probably. So I did that quest, and then I did another one. It was over the just before the winter, and my dad was watching over me. But it was 4 days in the bush, no food, no water,
Mm.
and man, I had some wicked dreams, man, some wicked dreams. But never um never explained those lights though. So like, and I've had bears come on my site when I was on Vision Quest.
Yeah.
A mama bear and her cubs, and again, this was like 3 days in. I could have been imagining it all because the 3 days without food and water, you start seeing and
Oh,
hearing
yeah.
things. So yeah, I wasn't sleeping. By the third day, I was not sleeping. I was up all night. I'd sleep a little bit during the day, and that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Is you're supposed to sleep during the night. That's when spirits are supposed to come visit you, right? So,
Yeah. You're at
anyways,
that point, you're just counting down the hours
yeah.
that
And
you
the
could have
craziest
some
part
peace.
is, so after you haven't had food and water, you go do a sweat right after that. They don't feed you until after your sweat. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's a very interesting part of the culture. So.
I've always been interested in First Nations, culture-wise for the spirits and all that. Because it's very interesting,
Yeah,
like, how
like
spiritual you guys are, man.
yeah, I think we're all spiritual when at heart, right? I think that's what attracts a lot of hunters to the sport is that quest for the woods. That people always say, yeah, I get to the woods and all of a sudden it's like everything just goes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, it calms you down.
Yeah, I think it's because that's where we're meant to be, right? And we're meant to encounter these things, these spirits. It's part of animals and spirits, all these. It's part of uh, growing, right? Learning
Yeah.
things. So, yeah. But anyways.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, speaking of lights, dude, I got a few submissions of that, like,
Oh, really? Cool.
people seeing lights. Let's see if I can find them here. Okay, this one is submitted from Devin. All right. It said, my dad and I were scouting a farm we had recently got permission for. We drove our ATVs to the field edge after finishing chores and walked down into a hollow that had a few elevated benches. It was a really nice place for a stand. We worked all the way down to the bottom and looked for sign. I followed a few trails and walked in deeper and deeper. Got near dark and we decided to head back. Once we got close to the ATVs, we could see a bright light near the ATVs. It literally looked like a yard light 20 to 30 feet up in a tree, illuminating both the bikes. We both stopped dead in our tracks and my dad called out several times to see if someone was up there. Like a light switch was flicked and the yard light shut off. Once again, the only lights in the bush were our flashlights. We both talked about it and decided to climb up the incline to the bikes anyways. We climbed up onto one of the benches about 2/3 up the hollow and the same light turned on but below us. Basically where we had been standing when we saw the top one. Again, illuminating the ground up a tree 20 to 30 feet up. This time, since we were higher, we could clearly see nothing was there. My dad literally pushed me up the hill towards the ATVs. We started both bikes and then turned around to look again. That light was out and there was a new one way deeper in the bush along a trail we had walked while scouting. We drove as fast as ATVs could go through the field, down the road and back to the shop, parked the bikes and locked everything up tight. Never went back to the farm and never got any explanation. Occasionally my dad and I will talk about it as the freakiest thing we have both ever experienced. This was like 15 years ago and thinking about it still makes my hair stand up.
See, it's the
Lights,
lights,
man.
man.
It's the lights, dude.
Same thing. It lit up the ground. It was something like a bright white orb.
Very common, apparently, seeing lights. I mean, like I've seen like headlights, or headlamp lights from other
Mhm.
hunters
Yeah.
when I've been on public land, and it's like at that point, like when you first see that headlamp, you're like, oh, it's just another hunter. But if like that headlamp like starts floating up 30 feet in the air and fucking flying away, yeah, it's a little creepy. Yeah,
Yeah, the one was over water, so there was nothing. It couldn't be sitting in a tree. It couldn't. It was just over the water. And I remember just staring at it, going, "How the hell is it up there?"
man.
So that's pretty interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what that could be, man. 20, 30 feet up in a tree.
yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it no, it wouldn't have been not 15 years ago. Wouldn't have been a drone.
No,
Huh. I mean, I know some dudes hang their tree cameras up in the tree, and but that'd be weird that it was lighting up right on their bikes. Yeah,
but
I
isn't
don't
it
know.
like a? It's a flash, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and he said it was on for like quite a while till his dad called out. Yeah, it's odd. I don't know what that one would be.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there's also people talking about animals that were near them. That just really freaked him out. And we got Garrett, who says while he was bear hunting, him and a friend went down a rail track about 1,000 yards into the middle of nowhere. They found an ATV trail through the woods and walked it, which ended up being a big loop and brought them right back to the railroad. They decided to find a great spot to sit, so they decided to head back to the beginning of the trail to just sit till dark, see what would show up. At last light, they got up to have a little washroom break, and they were standing there chatting, and they looked up, and 100 yards down the trail, they saw a pack of wolves.
Eesh.
And they started howling. They looked at each other and got the hell out of there.
Oh, dodge.
Yeah, that'll make me need to change my pants for sure. Holy fuck.
Have you had any close encounters with animals?
Just coyotes, but like they run away.
Hmm.
You know, I haven't had any run-ins with bears. Not in the areas that I hunt. Um, I know CJ and Dave Hellcat got surrounded by was it by coyotes or wolves at one point?
No, really, holy.
Yeah, yeah, they were up hunting a public land up near Dave, and I think they were up in the tree stand when
Mm,
they just heard a bunch of wolves howling like all around them, like
hmm.
basically circling them, something like that. Yeah, fuck, yeah, that would be kind of terrifying, man.
Yeah, I only had one during the, well, so I've had a few bear encounters, but they were on the vision quest. They were like 20, 30 feet away. They really had no interest in me. I probably, after 3 or 4 days in the bush, you smell like a bear. So they had no interest in me. But I went hiking once, and I remember it was just right near my cottage. And I remember I wanted to check out this spot on the lake. So I decided I'll go through the bush and I'll come out on that spot. And I was also looking for a place to do my last vision quest. So went out there, find a nice spot. It's nice and flat. I think, oh, I could set up here, and it was a really hot day. It was the middle of summer. It was probably like a 30 or 40, it's 30, 35 degrees Celsius. And I decided, oh, I'm just going to lie down here. There's a big, nice bed of moss. I'm going to lie down. So I'm lying down, and I'm looking at the sun, just, I'm feeling great, relaxed. And all of a sudden I hear coming through the bushes, just crunch, 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 crunch. And it's moving faster and faster. And it's coming right at me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I start to sit up. I get on my hands and knees and I look up, and out of the wall of bush is a black bear. And he's got to be maybe 10 feet from me. And now he sees me and he's like, whoa. And he starts to stop, right? He starts doing this, and he jumps on the log in front of me. And I got no knife, no gun. So I thought, well, I'm pretty close to the cottage. There can't be anything out here. I've got nothing on me. I don't even have a rock. So I start standing up, and I'm like, get out of here, bear. And he looks at me, and the way a bear looks at you, they're sizing you up. He's got a look in his eyes like, can I take this guy? So he looks at me, and he gives me a couple of snorts. He's wetting his nose so he can smell me better.
Yeah.
And then he just turned around and took off to where he came from. I remember so adrenaline was so high. So high, I just fell back into the moss. I was like, oh my God, I gotta get back to the cottage. So,
Dude, holy shit. That's a close encounter, man.
oh, bears, man. I am terrified of bears. So I don't care if they're black bears, grizzly bears. I'm terrified of bears. So yeah, there's something else. Those things.
It's nuts. My dad. My dad was a pretty avid outdoorsman. And we had a chalet up in Vancouver in BC because that's where I was born, and we didn't move down to Hamilton, Ontario until I was 4. Yeah, 4. So my family lived there for about 8 years. We had a chalet up on Hemlock Valley ski resort. My dad would go up there in the summer times because it would be great for just hiking, and he'd do a little bit of a vacation. So when we moved back here, he'd go for a week or 2 in the summer. And what he would do is he would hike up the hill, up the Green Chair Hill. And it's a trek. It's a pretty steep hill. So he'd get his daily workout there. And he'd go up and sit on the top chair of the lift. Because on the lift, at the top of the lift, there's like a little ramp that you can go down with your skis. So he'd climb up the ramp and sit right on the top of the chair. And he was sitting there and he saw some rustling up in a bush. And he's looking at the bush. And out comes this big old black bear. And he's probably about 30 to 40 yards from my dad. And he's circling to come right in front of my dad. And then my dad's like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and be still. He won't see me, won't bug me. And the bear like stops, is sniffing the wind. It smells my dad, looks at him, and starts walking towards him. And my dad's like, well, shit, now what? So he takes out, he had a flare gun.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not a, a bear mace or, an air horn. He had a fucking flare gun. So he took the flare gun out, pointed it at the bear, waited until the bear got probably about like to the bottom of the ramp. I think he told me just to the bottom of the ramp because he didn't want to have to shoot it.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
So the bear got to the bottom of the ramp, he yelled, "Hey!" The bear stopped, looked at him, took its paw up and put it on the ramp, and then he just went right in the bear's face, and it like fucking backed up, was like, what the fuck? And then took off in the bush. So my dad jumped up off the chair and fucking booked it down the hill. My dad's old, to say it harshly. He's 73 right now. So at that time, he probably would have been 66. I think that happened about 7 years ago. So wow. Yeah, 66-year-old man booking it down a hill after popping a grizzly in the face with a fucking flare gun. Oh shit! When he told me that story, man, like I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "You almost died." He goes, "Yeah." No, he would have been fine. It was a black bear. He wouldn't have mauled him, I don't think. Right?
That's what you think. People have been mauled by black bears.
I know. They're feisty little fuckers.
They are.
All right, we got a submission from Thomas. He said 2 stories. So he goes, first story is in 1997, a weekend of deer season. I was sitting in camp after setting up on Thursday before opener, and I had a campfire going. This was my base camp for all of October, so we had set up everything. Sitting by the fire, just bullshitting with my cousin when 3 lights started making their way up the hill, about 8 feet off the ground. I thought they were possibly fireflies, or maybe sparks flowing from another fire. As they got closer, I realized they were about baseball size and pretty consistently bright. They made their way up the side of the mountain. We watched them for a good 4 to 5 minutes and they didn't fade. Just went over the hill out of sight. No drugs or alcohol was involved. Just a lot of bright lights and some weird feelings. Said, that's like I was being watched.
That's very similar. They were that's the size I would say. About
3 lights, size. Man. What's with the 3 lights?
Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy. All right, second story. It's probably no more than 3 miles from the first place. Opening weekend again. This was about 4 years ago. Moving along the edge of a meadow, my 14-year-old nephew with me for his first archery deer hunt. I have a bear tag as well. He points and whispers, "Bear." I see it about 100 yards, pulling a log apart, looking for grubs. Wind is in my favor, so I start stalking. Got to about 60 yards, pull the rangefinder, start putting it away, and the wind swirled. I feel it in the back of my neck. The bear stands up on 2 legs. Not a bear. Whatever it was is about 7 feet tall, covered in black hair, half turned to me and walked away on 2 legs. Silently, not super surprised by that. It was on a bed of pine needles. It was shooting light, but dark in the meadow, so probably about twilight. Said it wasn't a bear, but it was big. It's Bigfoot.
Or bear walker.
That's Bigfoot for sure. Or bear walker, yeah.
Bear walker.
Yeah, that's bears can walk on their hind legs, can't they?
Yeah, I don't think they can do it for a long distance, but yeah, they do that.
Yeah. But it wouldn't run away on its hind legs though.
No, don't imagine so. Not that I've ever seen it happen, but all the bears I saw were always on 4 legs when they're running.
Weird. Got to be Bigfoot at that point. The 3 lights though.
Yeah, I wonder too. Like this is this is where it's gonna get really freaky and really weird.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about spirits. We talk about these different creatures or whatever that are in the bush, and I wonder if these things are like, because everyone's like, oh, we have so much technology now. We like, Bigfoot can't exist, right? But what if Bigfoot's interdimensional? Just putting it out there. Yeah, it sounds. I know we're getting into some mushroom talk here, so that's LSD talk. But
we're both sober, by the way. Believe it or not, we're both very sober. I mean, I know I am. I don't know about Chris, but
no, it's like I haven't used LSD since I was very young, but when I was 15 or 16, so that's a long time ago. I'm 52 now, so and it's just, I only bring it up because I remember I was I've never done psilocybin, so I did mushrooms. I was 17. All I saw was colors. I didn't see any interdimensional creatures. I didn't have all the trips that I don't know if anyone out here listens to the Rogan podcast, but he always talks about these elves that came to him or whatever, right? And one of these creatures are all like they're interdimensional, and so like these chemicals that people use just make them easier to see, but there are just some people who have that gift that they can see interdimensionally. That's why most of us can't see them,
right.
and it's like, I don't know. I'm obviously, my theory is,
And the people that do
half
see them, we
baked,
call
but
them crazy, right?
yeah, exactly.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, like I've never really I don't tell too many people about the vivid dreaming, because people always look at you like, oh yeah, you're a wacko, and it's like, I'm not,
man.
You
No,
know,
a lot of people can do that.
nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
wish
remember I
could
used to be able to,
control my dreams.
if
dude.
I didn't like my dream when I was a kid, I used to be able to change it. I'd say, no, I don't want to be here, and boom, I'd be gone. I'd be
Dude,
somewhere else.
I had a reoccurring nightmare as a kid, and at the time it would freak me out. So
Yeah.
my nightmare was I'd be in my house somewhere, anywhere, and then there would be these 2 king cobras that would just were following me everywhere, and I'm running and trying to get away, and eventually they'd always catch me. And what they would do is they would bite my arm or my leg, and then I'd wake up, and whatever arm they bit or leg they bit was numb.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's like, as a kid, you're like, what the hell? And now I'm older. I'm like, yeah, my brain's telling me, hey, your arm's asleep because you slept on it, you dumbass. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've also had sleep paralysis. That's another thing.
really?
We're
Wow.
getting away from forest paranormal shit.
wow.
But yeah, I've had sleep paralysis before. It freaked me the hell out. It was like I was a kid. All this happened when I was a kid, and I was asleep, and I woke up. I thought I was awake, and I could see something crawling through my door into my bedroom, and crawling at the footboard of my bed, and then poke its head up. It looked like a cougar, but that had human hands, because it gripped the footboard, and then it just stared at me. Yeah,
Very interesting.
that was creepy as hell.
That is.
All right. I think we can do. I got 2 more stories here if we got time.
Holy mackerel, that's good.
I know.
I
I got quite a bit of submissions here, man.
and you only posted it yesterday, right? Or was it Wednesday?
Yeah,
2
yesterday.
days ago. Yeah, right on.
Yeah. I got a lot of responses. These are stories that are long enough for us to tell. Other ones, actually, you know what? I'll tell my favorite story here. This is the one that I wanted to bring up with you earlier. Okay, someone mentioned this, and this is pretty scary. All right, this one's from Magnus. All right. It was one time I was walking through the woods. I turned around, and boom, Justin Harrison was standing behind me. Absolutely
That would scare the
terrifying.
shit out of anybody.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, if I'm up north in the middle of buffalo nowhere and I turn around, Justin Harrison's behind me.
That'd be a short
That's some
Sasquatch for
Skinwalker
sure.
shit right there, man. Yeah, that's a Sasquatch. Yeah, that's what she said. Oh fuck,
Short one, he said.
short Sasquatch. Yeah. All right,
Supposed to be
this is
7 feet tall, so
Sasquatch. He's
yeah,
supposed to be
he's tall,
17.
man.
Oh, so maybe that
Yeah.
bear that guy saw was actually Sasquatch.
Could be. I don't know. And again, is Sasquatch an interdimensional creature? Only time will tell.
Interesting. All right, we got another submission from Jacob. He goes, well, I live in the woods on the backcountry lake for starters. I was out shining for raccoons. I think that's illegal. I don't think you can shoot raccoons in the dark, can you? You do, your brother.
I think in some of the southern states you can.
Yeah, I guess. He could be American.
But if you're on your own property, I think you're allowed to because it's pest control. I guess. I don't know. I'm sure. Well, it'll be a trivia question on CJ's show or something. So can you shoot raccoons at night?
Can you shoot raccoons at night? Yeah. All right. I was out shining for raccoons that had been destroying our bird feeders late one cold rainy night, and I was hearing someone quite loudly babbling incoherently in the distance. Sounded like the end of my quarter-mile driveway. Damn, dude's got a long driveway. Damn.
Cheapers.
It said, I figured it was a group out fishing on the DNR dock, which is literally at the end of the driveway, damn near. Then I heard this woman let out a blood-curdling scream, and I yelled out, hello? What's wrong? No answer. But I heard the babbling again, and I went back to assuming it must be a bunch of teens out catching bottle bass and goofing off. A few minutes pass. I shoot a raccoon, and I hear the scream again, but farther down the lake. Then again, and again. Basically short, repeated screams. I then decide it was best to go make sure everyone was all right. So with me, I had a pistol. Yep, so it's American. He had a pistol on his hip and shotgun of his truck. I drive out following the screams. First checked the DNR dock, nothing there, but I can still hear this woman screaming down the road. Drove a mile and a half to the boat access, nobody around, and I could still hear the screams and babbling, but it's closer now. Drove another mile up to the first intersection, shut the truck off and waited to hear the scream again. Dead silent. Drove up a half mile down each side of the intersection until I came across a scantily clad, unzipped zip-up hoodie and a cloth booty shorts, no shoes. 30-something just bawling her eyes out, shaking like a leaf and drunk as a skunk. Got her to settle down in the back of my truck, and she explained that she was new to the area and was camping with some friends. She'd wandered off because she didn't know why. Got lost and was trying to walk back to town following the aura of the town. I informed her town was about 15 miles out and that I knew the campsite where her friends were at. I suggested that I could bring her to her friends, but she said she just wanted to go home, so I drove her home. Aftermath was basically me calling the police to let them know what happened. They did a welfare check on her and they identified the surrounding call centers if her friends started calling 911 for a missing person. I even went to the campsite and knocked on their camper, but no one woke up. I actually still have videos of the screams too. I should also add that near that campsite she was at is my family's hunting land, and on it is a single family cemetery, father, mother, infant, and a drowned son that is built on top of native burial ground that has creeped out almost everyone I've ever brought by there without me needing to tell them what it is. Yeah, that's creepy as fuck, dude.
It is.
Yeah, I mean the screaming probably could have been her. Obviously like walking or running away.
Yeah.
Could also be a mountain lion depending where you're at.
But what was making her scream if it was her?
Yeah, I don't know.
He did say she was drunk.
Yeah. And drunk girls like to scream for no reason.
But not blood curdling usually.
No.
Just usually
yeah, I mean I've heard
ways.
I've heard mountain lions screaming. They sound like women, don't they? Like a mountain lion scream kind of sounds like a human woman screaming.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know foxes sound like babies crying at night. I know I've heard that at the camp. Also, I get a lot of barred owls at the camp, so I get to hear them go off. I remember one time it was just me and my dog when I had a dog back in the day, and she and I are just sitting by the fire. Dogs love fires, by the way. They love fires. It brings them back. So it's something. There's something. What's the word I'm looking for here? That kind of links them back to the past, right? Somehow, it's something instinctual that they recognize. That's when they first met human beings, with fires. So, but anyways, my dog used to love just sitting there with me, and we were sitting there one night, and I remember hearing cracking in the bush. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I've heard cracking before, and she would usually just get up and take a look. But this time, she let out this growl that I can't explain. I've never heard her do it before, and I've only done it once, and that was the only time. It was like guttural, like, and I was like, so I don't know what the heck was there, whether it was a bear or whatever, but oh man, she was scared. And she was a big dog. Like, she was like 90 pounds of dog. So the big old Weimaraner. She was that growl. I was like, I remember I went inside the cottage. I grabbed the shotgun, finished a bit of the fire. I had a beer going, so I had finished my beer, and then we went back and locked the door behind us. So we went to bed. But yeah, I never. And she had a hard time sleeping that night. She was scared.
Well, I know
Yeah.
they say dogs know when there's ghosts around.
Interesting. No lights though. This time, no lights and no
lights.
mimics.
Lights or mimics. No. A mimic would terrify me, dude. If I heard,
I would never go back in the bush again.
no,
if
man.
I heard that,
My
dude.
girlfriend told me, she goes, my girlfriend's also she's into paranormal shit too.
Cool.
She goes, if you're ever out there, do you whistle? I go, fuck no, I don't whistle if I'm in the forest alone. Are you kidding me? I'm not stupid. She goes, okay, don't whistle. And if you hear your name, I go, what if like the
You don't even have to
landowners?
tell me that.
I'm like, what if the landowner's coming out, looking for me? She goes, it's not the landowner. All right. Run first, ask questions later is what she tells me. I was like, sure. But yeah, she's big on don't whistle. Because apparently that summons spirits or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what she's telling me.
I would also imagine for a mimic that'd be an easy thing to copy, right? A whistle, rather than a voice.
Yeah.
It's just a tone, right? There's one story that I had pulled up. It was I won't read it all because it's very long, but it does talk about a mimic, and it's a Navajo story. So and then, like I had mentioned earlier, like a lot of First Nations, they don't like to talk about things like this to the outside world. So they keep it very they keep a lot of their stuff very hush hush. But apparently this guy had gone out, went out hunting or whatever, and on the second day, something was following him. He felt that something was following him as he was going. At the end of the day, he was going back to his campsite. It called his name, but in his mother's voice, and he obviously knew his mother wasn't out there. And so he was like, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. And he bolted back to his campsite, got into his truck, locked the door, and slept in his truck, had his keys in his hand. And he said he felt all night something was circling his sight. So,
dude,
yeah.
The thing is, that thing, whatever it is, could have looked in his truck.
Yeah, could have. Yeah,
because you got fucking all those windows, and like you can't see anything out of the windows, but they can see in.
Yeah, but do you want to be in your truck or your tent when there's something outside? Though I don't know. I'm starting to truck up and I'm going home.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I'm starting to truck. Yeah, fuck. See, I don't know, because like it's again that feeling of being watched. Like, there's no way that I'd be able to sleep.
Yeah, from what I read of the story, he did sleep very well. He was, like I said, he had his keys in his hand. He was ready to go if he saw anything. Scary stuff, man. Like, you don't know what's in the bush. And like I said, the only thing that ever gave me comfort was my old man telling me, he's like, whatever you see during the day is probably what you're going to see at night, which is not true because I've never seen orbs during the day, Dad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've yet to have an orb or a light experience, and apparently is the most common thing. A lot of people seeing orbs and lights and stuff. Another thing is people hearing phantom footsteps.
Yeah,
like they're walking in and they feel like they're being followed. Like there's an extra set of footsteps behind them.
Yeah,
I've had something like that. When I'm just walking out, I feel like there's something stepping behind me because I can hear the leaves, and then I stop and I don't hear anything, and I just keep walking.
Hmm. Yeah, again, it's is it your mind playing tricks on you, or is it something behind you? Who knows? Like, so my wife and I, when we go hunting, but if we used to go turkey hunting in Oxford. There's a bunch of public land there, and we what we would do is we'd leave Guelph here at about 2:30 in the morning. I'd grab a coffee, and we'd go out to the site. No, nothing paranormal ever happened, but I remember it, like, out there, there's no lights. It's dark, man. Like, people who've lived in the city their whole lives don't know what dark is, and basically barely can see the hand in front of your face, right? Dark. If there's no moon or stars out, so what we would do is we go in there early so that people wouldn't hunt there if they saw your vehicle, right? Usually, most hunters will be like, "Oh, I don't want to go in there. There's already somebody in there." So we get there really early, and I'd bring like like an air pillow or whatever, and we'd go there and we'd sleep until 5 in the morning, and then go to our turkey spot. So yeah, so walking in the dark, like it's I was, and again, I've never really been afraid of walking in the dark. Not sure why. I know Valerie's not the. She's sometimes afraid, sometimes she's not, because she actually went there once by herself. She got lost on on the property. I felt so bad
Oh my
because
god.
she asked me. She says she's not very good with directions. Okay, so I said, "Well, you remember we walk the edge of the bush off the farmer's field, and then you walk into the bush." Well, I guess she got confused and went straight through the bush. And she had brought her hammock with her. She left at 1 o'clock in the morning, and she was just gonna sleep and then get up and go and turkey hunt, right? And unfortunately for her, it did not turn out to be a good. She didn't look at the weather forecast. I remember I got a message at 3 o'clock in the morning, and all it looked like a scene from what the heck's that movie? No, jeez, it was like a horror movie. Anyways, it's like she's shining a light. I can see her turkey decoy. She had set it up, but it's pissing rain.
My
She's
god.
under her head, just her camera stick. Oh man, I'm like, dude, like, you got to come home. But she was too tired. She couldn't do it. So you had
Yeah,
to sleep.
I'm not
She had to
turkey hunting
sleep.
in the rain, man. Fuck that.
Yeah. So
Don't have the patience.
lesson is, I don't have the patience for turkey to begin with. So
Mm.
especially with a bow. Oh my god. Whew, mama.
All right, well, maybe I'll save the rest of these stories for the
Cool.
next episode. There's about 3 more, but
Yeah.
they're
Well,
pretty long, so I think we'll
yeah.
just leave them unless you have one.
Oh, the only one I have is this long one. It's it's part of that story I was telling about the guy the Navajo guy who saw that. And he said it was like I don't know, for lack of a better term, like a skinwalker, slender man, kind of tall, thin, with thin arms, long, thin arms, that he saw when he finally saw something. So, yeah, so it's a longer story. It would take about 20 minutes to read. I think we've got the point across here. This series is going to kind of be. I don't know. I have some ideas too about the series. If people have some really interesting stories, it'd be nice to have them on and actually tell it and discuss it. Like, it would be, like, a lot of people find this stuff fascinating. Right? I find it absolutely fascinating. So I know people tell me stories, and the hair in the back of my neck stands up, because either I've experienced something similar, or it's just a fucking scary story. You know what I mean? So it's a creepy story. Like, your story freaked me out. So I'll be honest, it was.
It still freaks me out.
Yeah. Like the run voice, even if it's in your head, man, that would still.
It
Still
sound like
freaky.
it sounded like an elderly woman's voice, almost like my grandma's voice.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She's got a very thick accent, so kind of
Okay.
sounded kind of weird. But this is that's the thing that stuck with me, is because if my brain is playing tricks on me and telling me to run, or it's made me hear something, like a voice that wasn't there. Why is it my grandma's voice or an elderly woman's voice? You know?
Was your grandmother alive at the time?
Yeah, she's still alive.
There you go.
Yeah,
Interesting.
weird. And moral of the story, yeah, if you see lights, it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing.
Yeah, you could go on a trip for 3 or 4 days, like Valerie was saying. Fall asleep, and You think you've been sleeping for 5 minutes and you've actually been gone for 3 days. So
Yeah.
people had no idea where you were. So be careful of the lights. That's one time you don't want to go towards the light.
And if you're bear hunting, make sure that what you're hunting is actually a bear and not a bear walker.
Or a Sasquatch.
And if you,
anyways, yeah. So I think we'll try to end it here. But if you have any stories like this, just send them over to us either on my Instagram at Let Down or on Misha's. We'll either tell your story, or if you've got a real story and you want to tell it live, we'd love to have you on here and discuss your story. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. So that's our campfire stories.
Yeah, very spooky.
Very spooky. Thanks for listening, guys. And you can find us. Well, you can find the Let Down podcast on Facebook and Instagram, also Spotify and YouTube. So be sure to check some of our past episodes. Like and subscribe. It helps us. Leave comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And Misha, tell us where you can find you.
Instagram, Misha.Koroscil, as well as Stray Sons Archery Co. on Instagram as well, and YouTube.
And check out some of the awesome merch he's got there.
I got a few shirts left. They've been selling pretty good. So
good. You got to put a Wendigo on there, buddy.
I'm going to have to now because of the series, brother. Right. I'm going to have to make a Wendigo shirt.
That's right. That's awesome. All right, dude. Thanks very much. We'll call our quits.
Till next time.
Have a good one.
Mission here from Thomas. This one is about lights again.
The lights.
Yeah.
There's lots of them. This
is from a while ago in 1997, he says. He said, no more than 3 miles from my cabin. Opening weekend again. But this was about... Hold on, more. You got to edit this out.
Mark that one.
Fuck's sakes.
Lots outtakes, buddy.
Oh, fuck. Okay, it's 2 stories in one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Fair enough. That's all right.
All right. So we had another... we'll wipe it out. So we had another submission from Thomas here. It's 2 stories he's got for us. All right. First story, 1997. Opening weekend, deer season central. What the fuck? That's not a word, bro. Okay, edit this out again. I honestly didn't read these because I wanted to read it on here first for some of them. All right, fuck.
So we got lights and no words.
Yeah, lights and no words.
Words.
All right, speaking of... fuck's sakes. Okay.